of the Williamsburg Bridge. We're on Delancey, Lower East Side. But we're gonna work our way up and probably get up to, maybe we'll go up to like Union, Washington Square, see how that goes. I would love to be shooting film right now. I really wish I could.
What camera is this?
This is a Sony, not sponsored. Please give me money if you want. But it's a A7CR, which I personally love. I love Sony's for the most part. I love that their sensors are pretty much in all the normal cameras. So like when you pay for a Sony, you're paying for the same thing as, you know, like Nikon's, Canons and whatnot. In my opinion, I just like them, and the body is super small. It reminds me of my my Pentax MX. I love Pentax. Speaking of, I'm shooting on Pentax glass today. This is like one of my favorite lenses ever. It's just a standard Pentax 50.
Adapter for that?
Straight adapter to the Sony mount, and yeah, I just love it. It just feels like my Pentax MX, which is like, I didn't realize until after I bought it, but it's the world's smallest SLR that was ever made. So I'm stoked that I love that camera. And then I got this guy, and it's like, it reminds me of the same thing. I want to get a really thin pancake for it so I can just like put it in my pocket like I do with my Pentax and just like stuff it in, but it still does the same thing. And you know, we'll see. Batteries aren't too charged today. Cold's gonna drain them fast. I don't think I'm gonna be using a filter today, no polarizer. I'm just gonna be shooting straight out the glass, so we're gonna do that. Oh, my little pin. Best present we've ever had. Quote me on that.
So today, you think of doing some street photography?
I don't know. You can say it's street, but like street I find to be very aggressive as a photography style. People think of street photography now, they think of confrontational photography, which is two different things. Confrontational photography, you getting up in people's faces, bright flash, even no flash, and you're taking photos, more of like beg for forgiveness than ask for permission sort of thing, which I appreciate it a lot. I love it as like a style. I think it's really sick. Personally, I love like the photos and the outcome of them. Do I think there's a place and time and place for it? 100%. But like, I can't sit here and like lie and say I don't like it and I wouldn't do it and that I haven't done it, because I have. I don't think it's the greatest, but like, what am I talking about? I love it. Like, it's awesome. What's happening? Why is it green? Do you want walk? Let's just go.
What catches your eye?
What catches my eye? I feel like every photographer wishes that they just have constant, you know, subject, but it doesn't. I wish it were that way. That's how it looks too. Like, you look at all these videos and you'll see things on Instagram and people are just constantly putting out good photos and really just like amazing quality stuff, and it's just not demoralizing, but it gets you super excited. And then you go out and do the real thing, and I can walk around for a whole day and let's face it, I'll get one photo and it just, because the sunset looks nice and it's reflecting off some scaffolding or something like that, and I don't know, like that could be my only good photo for a whole 4 or 5 hours of shooting, and it's like, that's the way it is. That's why I like film, because it slows me down. I notice when I take my digital out, I come back and I just get a lot of crap. I get a lot of shit because it's like I'm used to shooting film, so when I shoot on digital, I abuse that. I don't take my time with the pictures.
Yeah.
I just take as many as I can because it's like I have the ability to. Why not? I can just delete it. Who cares? I love shooting with my glass because it lets me interact with it even more. Like, I have to be constantly moving my camera. I'm not just, okay, computer, autofocus. Like, it's awesome having that like option, but I really like being able to adjust and control my camera with my hands, and especially my lenses and everything, and doing that up close. It results in, you know, not getting the best photo every time on a digital, because in a way film is more forgiving with those old lenses, where digital you have that whole sensor that's capturing everything. A little bit of a trade-off there, but you know, that's why I like the lens. It takes more time for each photo. I have to set it up, frame it, even in my mind. Even if it's a quick photo, like this girl walking by, and I'm taking a picture, like boom, snapshot, real fast. I'm still have to think and set it up and get ready for it.
In a day and age that is so focused on digital media, as a photographer, how do you get your work out there? I mean, obviously post on Instagram, but would you ever want to, I don't know, explore more prints and zines and physical media of that sort?
That's a good question. I feel like I don't want to say asked that a lot, but I've been told a lot. that I gotta stop putting myself down, because I do. I think everyone does. All artists can understand the feeling of putting themselves down. I feel like we are our biggest critiques. And especially as a photographer, it's a very saturated market where I don't know like what my future will be if I have a job or what I'm gonna be doing in that sense. So I don't post enough. I really take photos because I love doing it, which to an extent it's stupid because I'm not putting my work out there to be seen, which is half of the point. But to me, I love just going out and taking photos and looking at them and being able to, you know, every time I open my laptop, scroll through a couple pictures and see them for myself. And I've got a bunch of those I haven't even posted. I've probably got minimum 1,500 edited, either darkroom or on my computer, edited photos together that I've completed editing that could be posted or printed that I just haven't. And then I have so much more that hasn't even been edited.
Yeah, how many unedited do you think you have?
SD cards and hundreds of my like film books, dude. I've got slide after slide after slide. I've got so many rolls I just took for fun and forgot about. I mean, I just love shooting and seeing that outcome and then moving on and saying, what can I do better for next time? But I don't put my work out there, so it's kind of hard for me to say what I want to do, but like I would like to do more prints. That's like not even to sell, bro. I just want people to have my stuff up in their house. Like, I want someone to walk in to someone's house and just be like, oh, that's a cool pig. Like, who took that? And they're like, oh, Luke did. Having that seems so awesome to me. Like I want to just do big prints and give them to people just to have around and put up here and there and all over the place. I would fully say like Instagram, but prints, dude, I want to start printing again, because I used to print in a dark room when I was in like high school and stuff, and it's easier when you have a dark room.
Do you think with Homara, would that be a platform that
I think it would.
Is a space that is missing right now in the current media field, and do you think that it would help you get your work out there?
I would say so, yeah, partially. Because I haven't really seen it in action yet, and it hasn't picked up to its fullest potential yet. And once it does, I would really want to see what that looks like. But I think that it could be really helpful for someone like me who not is unmotivated, but just like unwanting to show their stuff because of how much negativity there is. Not that I care, you know, I'm always comparing myself, so I get in my own head. And so a place where I can just put my stuff out there and it go to other artists to see, I feel it would help more than just random people on Instagram, which is like, who's giving me the money? But artists help each other grow. Now, that being said, like not all artists are gonna be nice and polite and super helpful, so it could have its faults. So that's why I'm leaving it open, and I really just don't know yet, because I'm super excited for it, but I gotta give my honest opinion. I'm unsure.
More honesty.
But yeah, I'm just unsure of it.
This is only the start.
Exactly. I'm glad to be here, dude. I'm glad to be here when it's starting. I think if it works to its full potential, it could be really good and helpful for people who feel like me. Growing up, I always wanted to draw and paint real well, and I never sat down and took the time on that, if that makes sense. I have a lot of trouble drawing from my head and being creative when it comes to a physical medium of art, not photography, but like painting, drawing, sketching. Like sketching I can draw something by looking at it. It might take me a while, like it's slow and steady, but I'll get there. Being at Parsons made me realize that I care too much about having my own work that is different from others, which I think is a really good quality, but it's also prohibited me from pursuing getting better at drawing for not only myself, but for tattooing as well. And I've been really wanting to tattoo for a while. And as a career, in my opinion, as long as I'm creating and doing my own art, that's all that matters to me. If that means I'm doing photography and tattooing on the side or painting, anything, as long as I'm creating art, I'm happy.
Creation is what drives a lot of us. And yeah, like, exactly. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be one thing.
I think it's important, my time being here, I realized that it's okay to copy. It's not okay to copy and put it off as your own work, but it's okay to copy to get better.
When did you become interested in tattooing?
Really, as soon as I knew that I wanted a good amount of tattoos, it's when I sort of like became way more interested in the art of it and the drawing and all that aspect. And I always loved traditional stuff. Like I never really went towards the realism or anything black and gray realism. Like it's not my thing. For a while, I would just like look at it and be like, oh, eventually I'll do it. And I don't know why I didn't just start sooner, you know, going in books and online, looking at old Sailor Jerry pieces and just like stenciling and copying them. I don't know why I didn't do that or anything like that.
I mean, I feel like that's what you were saying. You kind of have that fear of copying it.
Yeah.
Haven't yet realized that.
And I realized that, hell, most trad tattoos are Sailor Jerry tattoos that have just been changed slightly. The traditional panther, the skull, the sparrows, the swallows, all that stuff. Like, it's just been all the pinup girls and everything. Like, I have a bunch of his flash books, and it's like all those designs come from him. And people are still tattooing those to this day. So it's like, that's what made me realize, I think, being here, not even the school, but that in specific made me realize I do that with all my art.
My name is Luke Friedman. I'm a student right now, full-time, if you would.
We're here in Brooklyn, right next to the bridge. Beautiful bridge. And what do? I do a lot of things. Not well, but I do a lot of things, I would say. I'd say I'm a photographer, artist, I don't know, just like, I love expressing myself. So whichever way I can do that is what I would say I do, but for now, let's say photographer for now. I would say, like, from a young age, I always was around art and exposed to art thanks to my mom, always taking me to museums no matter how much I liked or disliked them. But like, you know, she had, was it a Nikon D3500? She always had it and brought it around with her, and then I started to take to it in high school. It was when I really started taking it out. I always was around cameras and had, you know, was able to take photos on my mom's nice expensive camera at the time that I thought, you know, was state of the art to me. I wanted my own camera and I couldn't afford a digital, but I decided to spend $60 on a Pentax P3. In my head now, looking back, I'm confused at myself, but I found film to be cheaper than a digital camera just because the price of the actual camera body. Yeah. So I started shooting film a lot, and that's all I shot until I got my digital camera. I kind of went off question, but that's when I started to really get into it and stuff, but yeah. I remember my first roll of film on that camera. It was Kodak Gold, and then a roll of Ilford FB4 125 Super, or Plus, whatever it's called. That was my first roll of black and white, and my first roll of color film, both same day. Took it at the beach with some of my closest friends, and I'm still Nate. I was at the beach with him, and I still got those pics on my camera and on the film strips today. Those were my first rolls of black and white and color, and I realized that color tells a lot in the actual frame itself. Having color film, to me, you get to see all the details, all the depth and color in it, whereas black and white, I feel in my opinion, you're able to tell a story better. You have nothing else distracting from the photo, color-wise, and you really get to focus on the subject becomes the point of interest, not the color and the depth of the color and everything like that. Because you could assume these dark blacks they're not black. They could be dark blues, they could be dark reds, they could be just darker tones. So black and white I fell in love with because after looking at that first roll of film that I developed, and I had one color and one black and white, I saw that the black and white, the subject was more important than the actual landscape and background of the photo, whereas the color, I felt the entire photo was important. So I fell in love with it for its storytelling purpose, not because I think black and white just looks cooler. I was always really interested in 120, and I didn't have a lot of money in high school. I didn't work until my later years, being able to afford a new 120 millimeter camera. I never had a Pentax 6.7 or maybe a... Yeah, you're cutting that shit out instantly, bro.
Sorry, continue.
No, I can't continue. Yeah, so I started on 35, and for a while in high school, like I didn't really like having a lot of money to buy a brand new 120 mil camera or anything like that, or even a new 35 millimeter. I just bought new glass for a while, and that's it. So I always wanted to shoot 120, and I had these like weird like 220 mil and like 180 or some weird formats that they didn't make anymore since like the 50s, 60s, stuff like that. And I had these cameras, and I'd get medium format film, and I'd cut them to fit the thing and re-roll them and all this stuff in my room, like in my closet, fully dark and everything. And that's when I got into medium format, and I like how like just like the size of it, like the square versus, you know, rectangle and all that stuff. Like that's what I love about it. But I really got into large format when my old professor, he was leaving, and he was getting rid of all of his camera stuff the school had, because they wanted to like redo the whole thing, and they were throwing out all this. They threw out in a larger, perfectly fine one, all this shit, and I took the 4x5 camera. So it was a Cambo 4x5 with bellows, so it looks like an accordion, and it shoots 4x5 paper film. And I bought a new lens plate for it and some new lenses, and I started shooting large format and developing it in my bathroom, and I love that stuff. It's so much fun because it's really a slow process, and I love being slow when I take photos. So I would say, like, again, really just being exposed to it, reading more books, like all these photo books had me loving medium and large format. I still love 35 millimeter, like it's still like my favorite, most convenient, but like I really fell in love with those after just being around photography and being obsessed with it to the point where I wanted to explore all these new different types and mediums.
I find that's really amazing too, that you just developed in your closet, you know, just
a lot of photographers, yeah. It's too expensive nowadays.
Exactly. It's nice that you kind of have those humble beginnings. And I mean, did you think it kind of allowed you to connect to the process more?
Yeah, developing your own photos is
sketchy environment rather than a professional space.
100%. Like developing your own film is a huge part of it. And there's no shame in getting your film developed. I still do, but you should. If you're shooting film, you should know how to develop your own film. In my opinion, it's just like it's really peaceful and meditative almost. I would say like doing that really helped me just like get closer to it as a whole. Yeah, there's not as many like community darkrooms anymore. I mean, out here in Brooklyn, there's a decent amount, more than you'd expect. And there's some in LA, but a lot of these smaller cities might not have them. Like they still have darkrooms to give their film to and get it developed for them, but not a lot of places where you can just go do it on your own. But yeah, it's really accessible now. Again, the chemicals are dangerous, but as long as you're in like a ventilated room that can be dark, you don't even need to have a dark room. They have these like little tubes and canisters which you can do it in. So I think it's definitely worth trying, even if you can't scan it yourself. It's worth developing it and then even bringing it to your film lab so they can drum scan it for you. Because drum scanners, in my opinion, are my favorite. I don't like scanning with the camera. I think it kind of defeats the purpose of film. Yeah. I prefer printing them and then scanning them if I want to scan on something digitally, but like drum scanners are like definitely where it's at. Literature, a fine print, and fucking up tons of rolls, I would say, are the only thing that got me here. Definitely a lot of rolls that are just blank and stuff, and I blame my first lab for that, and then I yelled at them. Not yelled. I politely asked when the guy came out front was telling me that I'm losing it, and then I took a picture of the desk before I handed in my rolls because I was like, I just always want proof. So I took a photo. It was 5 film canisters, and I did not get back 36 times 5, which I cannot do in my head, sadly. I got back about 3.5 rolls. So they messed up developing a roll and a half because I knew I didn't mess up exposures. It was in the middle of my shooting, so how would one roll in the middle be messed up and not the other ones? Yeah. 1.5 rolls. And then the guy finally apologized and they never messed up again. He actually admitted that he was the one that did it too, which was fine. But yeah, he was like, I completely unrolled it and then I undid the covering. I was like, well, don't lie about it. So
just be honest.
Exactly. Yeah. But like, there's no hard feelings there. Just be honest, dude, and give me my money back. And he was like, sure. And then he gave me a couple rolls. Like, that's the thing. Like, every community has its issues, but like, if you're chill, like, there shouldn't be an issue. Even if someone lies about it, just forgive them. Like, it's usually, it'll go a long way. Like, it gets you places. I was in a river taking pictures of one of my real good friends, Roy. He was modeling for me and changing out my rolls in the water. And you can see, so I dropped one roll in the water, I pick it up, I dropped another roll while picking it up, and then I go down to get that one, and I dropped a third roll. So all these 3 rolls had water in them. 2 of them came out really funky, and they're cool. I'll show you, like, you'll like them. It's like you can see the water leaks on the film. So I think it ended up being good, but like, I don't have that many funny experiences. Like, there's just crazy people out in the streets, you know, yelling at you, oh, cameraman, blah, 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 this, that. So it's like always an experience, but like, I can't think of like funny, like wacky stories like that, you know? Back home, it was whatever I wanted to could take a photo of. LA, I didn't find to be very easy for street photography. And that doesn't just mean confrontational photography like I was talking about before. I mean, in my opinion, street photography is anything like walking out your door and taking a photo. That's street photography. But in LA, it's very spread out, and I found it to be framing my photos more. Setting up, either using a tripod, anything like that. And I'm taking a little bit longer on these photos. Where in New York, I noticed I'm just snapping photos a lot faster because there's so much going on. I did love sitting on the beach with my 400mm lens and just taking pictures of surfers for hours and then putting my camera back in my truck and going in the water myself. So it was really whatever I deemed interesting in the moment. And for a while that was a struggle for me because people would ask me what type of photography you do, or people that are interested in maybe having me shoot for them, they're like, what photography do you do? I'm like, I could sit down and think for hours. I'm like, I don't know. So I would respond to people like with, oh, well, I do this, and that. And then by the time I'm talking, they're like, oh, okay. It's like they get bored. So it's like, I don't know. Like, I never really know. I mean, now I wouldn't. In New York, I would consider myself a street photographer. I don't put
nice not having a label.
That's what I was about to say. I love not having a label. I'm a photographer. That means I can take photos, do whatever the hell I want.
And there's a sort of freedom that comes with that.
Exactly, yeah. Like, people really just like, they narrow themselves down, especially within a medium. Like, if you're an oil painter, why focus on just painting Impressionism? You're painting like Manet, Monet, Seurat, all those guys. Who says you can't go out and do something post-Impressionism or Expressionist or Neo-Expressionist? Why can't you go out and go paint a crazy, wacky self-portrait of yourself like Basquiat did?
Yeah, people shouldn't limit themselves, and I feel like once they go down that certain path, it's hard for them to break away from it.
100%.
And I feel like in today's culture too, with Instagram, like curating a cohesive feed of similar styles is kind of promoted, and it's hard to stray away from different styles. So
yeah, like realistically, I want my Instagram to be just full of bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, I want so many different, I want photographs, I want tattoos, I want paintings, drawings, whatever. I just need to post more. I'm never on that app. But yeah, like down the line, I really just want to like just do as much art. Like I said, as long as I'm creating, I'm happy in life. In terms of photography, I'm a photographer who takes photos. So not one single thing that I'm passionate about in photography other than it as a whole.